Yo, 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 yo. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Great rising, everyone. Peace and love. Happy Sunday. Hold on, let's get this TikTok right. Faith. What's going on? How y'all feeling out there? Happy Sunday. Weather is getting warm, baby. 40 something degrees, back to back days, going up to 50 something this week. All right, that's what we've been asking for. That's what we've been waiting for here in East Coast, up the East Coast, Northeast, right? But yeah, we are live. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm your host, your boy, LaShawn Sugar Ray Marson. This is another week of Sunday Light, where I bring you sermon style discussion, talking about things that I think are extremely important to us as individuals, to us as a collective, a human family. And today's topic is the power of faith, hope, and love, which I like to call the three inner commitments. They are commitments to yourself first and foremost, right? Commitment to love yourself, commitment to have faith in yourself, right? To have faith in your abilities, to have faith in the dreams, to have faith in what you hope for, right? And hope is that what you desire to happen. All right, and I like, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about faith, hope, and love, right? And in some religious context, in the Christian context, they say faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of all three is indeed love, right? Or faith, hope, and charity. But that's what we're gonna talk about today. In a time when the world is absolutely falling apart, where uh, there are all types of crimes happening, all types of violence happening, all types of wars being waged against groups of people, against individuals, against where our children are not protected, our children are not cared for in the way that they should be cared for as innocent small people, as innocent children. Um, some things we got to do, some things we got to buckle down on, some things we have to allow to lead us, to guide us, to strengthen us, to fortify us, so that we can, as a human family, create a more just, more equitable, brighter, bolder, more harmonious, more love-filled world for us, for our children, for our children's children, and for their children and the children that come after them. Because what we do today, what we allow today, will persist tomorrow. So, as parents, as uncles, as aunts, as caretakers, we got work to do. As leaders, as educators, as activists, as advocates, as builders, as creators, we have work to do. We have work to do in ourselves, and we have work to do in our families. We have work to do in our communities. We have work to do in the world. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we go there, we are going to, of course, start with the prayer. All right. I like to start every day with affirming, with confirming that which is, that which I am willing into existence, right? And give thanks for it all, the ups, the downs, the challenges, fully understanding that is all part of a process, all part of a divine process, all part of my process of becoming everything that my heart desires, everything that I envision for myself, right? It's nothing becomes what it becomes overnight, right? Like, it's a process to everything. And so we're gonna put some words out there, man. We're gonna begin with a prayer. We're gonna burn some sage. I know TikTok, again, as I mentioned last week, is real sensitive about smoke. They don't want anybody smoking on TikTok, and I'm not smoking, but they had said when we did the live training, even if you like sage or Palo Santo or incense in your life, the software, the AI, picks it up as you smoking, and they will flag you. And I'm just tired of being flagged on these social media sites, right? I'm always flagged on Instagram, been flagged on TikTok before. That's why I went to Facebook and Instagram, then flagged over there. Facebook been good though, man. Facebook I don't think has flagged me yet, right? Somebody's standing at the door. I don't know why they're standing at the door. You coming in? Why you? Yeah. I see little feet. Now you can see feet at the door. You look like, hey, what's going on? Isn't there a monster in the place? You know what I mean? But yo, TikTok, we're gonna pause this live. We'll be back. Facebook, YouTube, we'll get into this prayer. Give me 1 second. Let's pause this live over here. How do you pause this live? We'll go here, press this button. Pause live, yes. All right, we got 5 minutes. So my prayer for today is I'm praying sincerely from the depths of my soul that every single person who hears these words feels loved. Feels loved, loves themselves. I pray that every single person who hears these words has a healthy relationship and definition of love. I pray that every person who hears these words knows that love is indeed kind, it is indeed gentle, it is understanding, it is forgiving, it is compassionate, it is graceful, it is also at times firm, it is also at times strong, and love is strength, love is commitment. I pray that every person who hears these words indeed has a deep faith in themselves, a deep knowing that that which they dream of, that which they envision, that which they hope for will come to pass. I pray that every person who hears these words has something to hope for, has something that they long for, regardless to what they have now, regardless to what situation they are in now. Know that more is possible, know that better is probable, but it takes work. I pray that every person who hears these words understands, and understands that their process of becoming is indeed their process, completely separate from the process of anyone else, whether they are a twin, brother or sister, their child, their children, their parents, any person that they are connected to, near or far. Their journey is unique. I pray that they root in that uniqueness. They know that that uniqueness does not mean that they cannot also accomplish their wildest dreams, regardless of what they are. I pray that every person who hears these words indeed dreams big, dreams beyond their circumstances, dreams beyond their current conditions. If they are not favorable, I pray that every person who hears these words is in a space, in a community, in a family, where they do feel loved from the outside. And I pray that every person who hears these words has the strength to speak up for themselves. I pray that every person who hears these words has the courage to walk away from any situation where they do not feel loved, where they do not feel valued, where they do not feel seen. I pray that every person who hears these words has the conviction to know that they are indeed worthy, regardless of what their past transgressions have been, regardless of what their current circumstances are. They are worthy of love and of manifesting and accomplishing and living in their wildest dreams. I pray that every person who hears these words is still enough to hear the wisdom of the divine speaking through them, guiding them, pushing them, pulling them back and keeping them safe. I pray that every person who hears these words slows down just enough to recognize the beauty that exists around them and the beauty that they are. That is my prayer for this Sunday morning. Ashe, 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 and so it is, and so it will be forevermore. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Let's resume on TikTok. TikTok, I apologize that you guys missed that prayer. It was indeed rooted in love, faith, hope, beauty, commitment, compassion, grace for all of us, for all of you. But yeah, let's talk, right? Let's talk. So yesterday was what many call Love Day, right? Or Valentine's Day, February 14th, which is a day where so many people, those who are in relationships, married, dating, long-term partners, show love, right? They show love. They go above and beyond. They go out of the way to buy flowers and chocolates and cards and, do all of these things. It is the favorite holiday of many, right? It's a day where love is widely shown, widely expected, widely received. And it's a beautiful thing, right? I love love. I love love in all its forms and all its capacities. I love love on all days, right? And what happens is, so before I even get into what happens, right? What happens on Valentine's Day that causes, that's one that's so beautiful, but that also causes so much angst, right? And it's on social media. Even before social media, I've seen it in my community, right? But it causes so much angst. It causes frustration. It causes arguments, right? Because people expect certain things and people don't get certain things. They don't get what they expect, and it causes a lot of friction, right? I think it causes friction because we forget that love is not it can be, but it's not a performative thing, right? Love is constant, right? Love is constant. Love is an expression of emotion, of being, that is and should be constant. It should be felt throughout phases, right, of frustration, phases of circumstances and situations changing, right, phases of changes in it should just be constant. But a lot of times it's not, right? A lot of times it's performative. But this is why when I speak about love in this context of today's topic, is an inner commitment to yourself, even when you don't feel love of another, right? Love yourself. Love yourself. Give yourself the grace, the compassion, right? Speak to yourself kindly, right? Date yourself, take yourself out, do those things, right? That's a commitment to yourself, that regardless to what's going on around you, what's going on outside of you, what's going on in your family, what's going on in your community, what's going on in your home, what's going on in the world, what's going on with the leaders, love yourself first and foremost, right? That's a inner commitment, and that's a power to stand rooted in your truth, to stand rooted in, like, I don't care what I have, I don't care what I don't have, I don't care, homeless, lost job, no money coming in, partner left me, children are gone, they don't want to talk to me, right? Parents left me, they don't want to be bothered with me. I love myself. Now, self-love does not mean, yes, it means accepting yourself for where you are, for who you are, but it does not mean what's the word? Pacifying yourself, right? It does not mean babying yourself. Self-love, the strength part, right? And the courage part is pushing yourself to be better. Knowing that, being honest with yourself enough to know that you may got some shit there may be some shit with you. That's not all good, right? Are you manipulative, right? Are you a liar, right? Are you dishonest, right? Do you move in a way that causes harm to people around you, right? Like, part of self-love is being honest with yourself, keeping it real, as keep it real, right? Keep it real with yourself. You're gonna keep it real with everybody else. You want everybody to keep it real with you, but you ain't keeping it real with you. You ain't keeping it real with you. So love, great power in that. Because love of self, love of others, love from others transcends everything. We saw last week, Super Bowl said love is more powerful than hate. The only thing more powerful than hate. And it really is. Love is the most powerful force in the known universe. To love someone, to love a people, to love something, to love yourself. All right. Now, when you couple love of self, love of another, love of others, when you couple that with hope and faith, right? Hope, like Dick Gregory, when Dick Gregory talks about like F hope. What is hope? Hope is, and I get that fully because the faith is the knowing. That's what you use the will, right? Something into existence. Because there are people who hope, oh, I hope it's going to get better. I hope things improve. But they don't put their will in. They just like wishing on the fucking stars. Like, what is that? Like, you can wish all day, but if you don't put your will behind it, right? Which a few years ago, just as me coming into this consciousness, me coming into this understanding, I stopped saying, I wish you a happy birthday. I wish you well. No, I will you a happy birthday. I will you a beautiful day. I will you a great day. I put my will, my energy, my essence into a thought, into envisioning happiness for you, into envisioning a better day for you, a beautiful day, a better time, health for you, whatever it is that I want for you. I'm putting my will into it. I'm not just going to wish. I'm not just going to hope that it happens, right? Oh, I hope everything works out. I hope I get that raise at work. I hope I get a promotion. I hope. Now, the key, though, where as I fully understand Dick Gregory and his perception there, my only pushback would be different people are on different levels, and you can't force someone to that higher level of consciousness because faith is the evidence of things hoped for, right? The evidence of things hoped for. Evidence of things hoped for. That means you have to see it, which is where the knowing comes in. You see it in your mind's eye. You see it and you know that it's possible. You know that it's probable. You know that it already exists in some dimension. It's there. It's right there. I know that shit. I feel that shit. I see that shit. When my eyes closed, I see it. When my eyes open, even though I'm looking at something different, I can see beyond the fog. I can see beyond this shit. You know, in certain movies, fantasy movies, where there's like is a town or is a city, but then there's another hidden city. You have to be able to see that hidden city. Yes, you may be looking at an impoverished community. You may be looking at a family that is addicted to alcohol and drugs and gambling and violence and abuse, and all that may be rampant in a family, in a home, in a community. You may be looking at the dog shit on the streets. You may be looking at the litter on the streets. You may be looking at the news, right? Mainstream and social media, and the young people killing each other. In the Bronx, 3 people shot, 4 people shot over here. You may be looking at that. And it may make you cry, it may make you angry. Very real. But you got to be able to see beyond that shit. That's the faith. Like, I know that it will not always be like this. And I know that my love for myself, that my love for my people is going to push me to activate, right? To be active, right? Not just to advocate, but to activate and be active and do something. Not just speak about what needs to be done, but to actually do something. Whatever it is in my power, through the grace of the Most High that dwells inside of me, that also dwells inside of them, even if they don't know, even if they are unaware that they have the Spirit of God in them. The Spirit of God in me knows that they have the Spirit of God in them, knows that the Spirit of God in them has been made dormant because of the alcohol, because of the drugs, because of the freaking, when they're children and there's no alcohol and drugs, it's just the fucking negative freaking imprint that's been placed on them by their parents, by their educators, by society, by the music, by their uncles and aunts, by the traumas that they experienced, right? But I know that and maybe, damn, this young person is gone, but the next young person I come in contact with, the next group, I can do something. So faith, love. Faith, evidence of things hoped for. Love is the power that's going to push and make manifest the things that you hope for, the things that you wish for. It doesn't just become a wish, it becomes an active knowing that I am making the world a better place. I do make the world a better place. With every step that I take and every breath that I take, the world becomes a better place through my actions. It's knowing. You got to know that shit like you know that shit. You can't let nobody tell you different. You can't let nobody tell you different, and you can't let your circumstances make you feel different. Small actions. Small steps. Day by day. I think the perfect example of this is a baby being born. You look at 9 months, like, okay, well, 9 months. But look at the days. Look at the weeks. Look at the hours and the minutes. There's always something happening. Something small, something seemingly minute that is happening in trimesters, first trimester, second trimester, third and final trimester, right? There's something happening at every stage. Right, and then what they consider, if I'm not mistaken, the fourth trimester, the baby's born, is that postpartum, that window after, right? It still matters. It still matters because, as the saying goes, is when you pray for a thing, when you pray for a blessing, when you pray for something, also pray for the discipline to keep it and maintain it, right? So don't just pray for the wealth. Pray for the discipline to maintain it and to grow it. Don't just pray for the baby and a happy family. Pray for the discipline and the wisdom to nourish it, to maintain it, to grow it, and to keep it. Right? It's faith. It's love. And that's something that you hope for, something that you look forward to. A day that's beyond today that you really want to happen. But you got to marry them. And they already married, right? Is faith is the evidence of things hoped for. Things unseen, things you do not see yet. And now this is where, again, faith, hope, and love are inner commitments first and foremost, but then this is where the power of faith and love in another comes into play. And not through control, right? A lot of times we want to control people. We want to control our children. We want to control our siblings. We want to control what people do. We want to control our parents even, right? My mom was, for so many years, smoking cigarettes, right? Now she's still nowhere near the healthiest person on earth, right? She still eats terribly, right? Still, watches terrible things, terrible intake, right, of information. But for a long time, I wanted to get her to stop smoking cigarettes. And talk, Mom, you gotta stop. Try to control it. Even with food and diet, Mom, you gotta. You know what? I love you enough to not try to control you, to respect that you have a destiny that's completely separate from me, may be connected to me, but is also completely separate from me, your destiny. And can I love you still, in spite of the pain that you are causing yourself? Absolutely. And then what happened? Pray, right? You send out good energy to that person for that thing, but you physically step away, right? Especially when you send that good energy, you send that prayer for that person about that thing specifically, especially when you know that they are having an issue with that thing, right? And they have communicated that they want to stop that thing or they need to stop that thing and that thing ain't good for them, right? But you trying to force them ain't happening. Again, be careful what you pray for. You just might get it and you never know how it comes. My mother was in a hospital for 2 weeks. In 2019, 2 weeks in the hospital. Could have died. She could have lost her life. But she's still here. In that 2 weeks in the hospital, no cigarettes. She hasn't smoked a cigarette since. Right, she's at 6 years and change. It was December 2019. She's at 6 years and change. Right, since she smoked a cigarette. Powerful. The power of love. Right, kind, patient, soft, gentle, understanding and compassionate, graceful, and detachment. Right, that's the key to detach. To detach. Detachment doesn't mean that you don't care. Where a lot of people are like, oh, you're so detached, you don't care. No, that's not what detachment means. I care, but I care enough to know that like I cannot control one person. Truly cannot control another. You cannot even control your children. When you try to control something, especially something that's delicate, a child, a parent, or a sibling, you try to control something that's sensitive, you actually cause more harm than you do good. Try to control a balloon. Either it fucking pops or it slips out your hand and it flies away. You try to control the fucking butterfly. Goes away. It's a saying. It says you catch more, what is it? You catch more flies with honey than you do with shit. Yeah, man. Be soft. Be gentle. Speak kindness. Speak with love. In terms of speaking, right, is an African proverb. It says, if you want to be heard, whisper. If you want to be heard, whisper. You don't need to yell. You don't need to shout. All right. A lot of people who yell and shout are actually communicating something within themselves, right, that is imbalanced, right? The desire to control. But when you are confident and when you are detached in a way where you love deeply, but you understand that people's journey is different and is actually completely separate from you. Again, you could be a twin, a parent, and your child, right? Your child, and then you're a child of another. Any of those three relationships, those are three of the closest relationships. The parent that you come from, the child that you create, and if you're a twin sibling. In all of those situations, as closely connected as you are, DNA-wise, right? And even if you're a freaking Siamese twin, physically, still, the destiny is a little bit different. The feelings, the emotions, the expression of them are, the closer you are, still a little different. A little bit different. And so to respect that process of another, to respect another's journey back to source, because as they say, we're all just journeying home, right? This is not where life started for us, right? Physically, yes, but we know that we are not our bodies. We know that we are spirit. We know that we are like plasma. We know that we are consciousness, which exists outside of the body, which existed before the body was, before the body became what it is, and will exist when the body is no longer. Right? So, like, we're all just going back to source. We're all just returning back to the essence from which we came. We came here, physical realm. As my art would say, it's just a blip. It's a blip. It's a blip of fucking time. It's a heartbeat in terms of the divine. Thought. Milliseconds. Nothing. Even if we live to be 100, 120 years old, it's so quick, so short. But if lived right, if lived with love, if lived in love, if lived with faith, working towards something vigorously every day, minute by minute, right? Some days you're able to go real hard, some days is, and you may not always see the end results, but faith, trusting, and knowing that without the work I'm putting in today is bringing me closer and closer and closer to the vision I have for tomorrow. The work I put in today is bringing me closer and closer and closer to the vision I have for tomorrow. You got to know that shit. And when you know that shit, one day, everything happens. And you're like, oh, shit. The bamboo is the perfect example. You water that shit for 5 years. 5 years, you water in the bamboo, it does not do nothing. And you want to fucking control, like, is it doing something? Is it? And then in 6 months, it grows 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet. You're like, oh shit. And then the question will come like, well, did it grow in those 6 months or did it grow in those 5 years? It grew in the 5 years and 6 months. The 5 years that nothing was happening, it was still growing. The 5 years that nothing was happening, something was still happening. Because just because you don't see the growth, right? Just because you don't see the growth, again, we're talking about plants. Just because you don't see the growth doesn't mean it's not growing. The same thing for a person, the same thing for your brother, the same thing for your child, the same thing for your parent, the same thing for your spouse, the same thing for the young people in the neighborhood who you call the knuckleheads. Just because you don't see the growth doesn't mean it's not happening. Overstand this, family. My brother, we had the sobriety party the other day, right? My brother Ray comes and he says he's talking to one of the other brothers, right? And he's telling them how bad of a guy I was, right? At one point, even before he met me, he said when he first met his wife and started hanging in Queensbridge, his wife, like, somehow they came in contact with me. I knew his wife, right? Childhood friend. But somehow something happened. They started talking about me, and she was talking about how bad of a person I was, how fought her brothers, and just I was a bad person. And then when he met me on some street stuff, right? Wanted to do some street stuff together, and I was like, nah. And he's like, yo, but like you are hurt. Who you are, how you get down, like let's do this shit. I'm like, I'm about to change my life, right? That was at 22 years old. Right? That was after prison. All right, still, but bad person. But I was still growing, right? When I got shot at 19 years old, if I would have died at 19 years old, the story of my life would be completely different. Like this knucklehead kid, knucklehead fucking teenager who just has a history of arrest. Right, at 19 years old, I was already arrested a dozen times or more. Right, a lot of bullshit. Right, it wasn't like a bunch of like crazy heavy shit, but it was some heavy shit. I was already on felony probation. Right, 17 years old, called a felony case. Ended up getting probation from that. And at 16 years old, I had a felony that I ended up getting a YO for. Right, robbery and assault. Right, so I had some serious shit and did a bunch of small shit, a bunch of misdemeanor shit, a bunch of smoking outside, a bunch of hopping the train, a bunch of riding a fucking motor scooter, a bunch of like just bullshit. Right, fucking trespassing and vandalism and just a bunch of bullshit. Right. Petty theft, right? Robbed the pizza man, beat the pizza man up, right? Like petty shit. But at 19 years old, when I got shot, if I would have died, that would have been my life story, right? Even though I was in college, even though I had my GED, even though I had written some films, I had written some poems, I had some stuff published, right, from elementary school, and I had some stuff in my middle school, like news bulletin, right? That was so it wasn't constant, it wasn't consistent, it wasn't like blown up. So my story would have been knucklehead kid, teenager, troublemaker, shot and killed. People would have been like, he deserved it. And you know what? I probably would have, according to some, even according to myself on some days. But what would not have been known then by most, some would have known, which is why people would have still cried and been sad, because people who knew me, and they knew that although I was doing fucked up shit, I was doing it because I was hurt. I was depressed at that age. I was really depressed and I was hurting, and I masked it with drugs, with alcohol, with sex, with women, right? With shopping, right? With like all of that shit. I used that shit to try to make me feel better. So if I would have died at 19 years old, my story would be completely different. But what happens? Shot at 19, still live, go to prison at 20, right? Could have been for a long time. I wanted to kill some people, did not kill some people. I'm grateful. So instead of getting fucking a life sentence and instead of getting 20 years and all of that shit, I get 3 years. Okay, 3 years. It's enough time to sit the fuck down, right? And to think and to reflect and to project and to introspect, right? And to correct. It's okay, get my mind back in, get my heart back in, because like I got shit I want to do actually. And from that point, although when I first came home, the first year was still real rocky for me, right? I still made some unfavorable decisions, still did some actions that were not becoming of me, right, so to speak. But from 2008 till now, who I am was a process. But who I am is who I've always been. At 7 years old, I want to heal this world. At 41, almost 42, I'm healing this world. Had to go through the pain. Had to go through the process of refinement. You see, the fire, it burns, but it purifies. The fire burns, but the fire purifies. And yes, I was burnt, right? Yes, I was hurt. Yes, the scars on my heart, it's scars, physical scars on my body, right? It's some traumas that still live in my mind and in my body. But I was purified because now at 41 years old, as someone who once had an extremely violent mindset, who wanted to hurt people, even those close to me, I don't want to hurt nobody no more, even the people who cause harm. I don't want to hurt anymore. Even the people who talk shit about me. It's like I may say it in a moment. I'm so frustrated, but like, yo, I want to. But I said I don't want to. Which is why I don't do anything, because I don't want to do anything. I just want to live and love. I just want to live and love and in harmony with the people around me, with my family, right? My ex-wife's family. I just want to be in harmony, right? The friends who are no longer friends, even though we don't gotta be friends, because I'm all about that. Like, you ain't gotta be friends with everybody, right? You ain't gotta like everybody. But I wish we could at least talk. Like, we share shit together, man. Like, we share, whether you my homeboys, and we share time together. We was at each other's crib. We know each other's parents, right? And we share intimate stories and details with each other. We should be able to see each other and speak, right? Ex-girlfriends, we should be able to see each other and speak. And like, if there's some shit that we can work on together, we should be able to work on that shit together. We don't gotta be best friends to do great work together. We just gotta respect each other, right? And so that's a hope. That's hope. We should have faith, right? That if it's meant to be, it will be. If it's meant to be, it will be. Detachment. Hope. I wish. Have faith that it will be what it will be. If it's meant to be, it will be. And then I detach and just do my work on myself, right? Do my work on myself and put a certain message out there in the community, out there in the world, and let the chips fall where they may, so to speak. Let God do what God does. And God is the most high God that dwells inside of me, is a component that's so much bigger than me. And I don't see, I have two eyes. And even though I have a third eye and I can see into the future, I can't see everything. I can't see what another person's destiny is. And I can't see around the corner where I can't see. Right? Because I make it see all the way down here. I can see I do this, I do this, I do this. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. But sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Right? Like, it's a corner that, oh shit, you fall down a ditch and something else happens. And then you come up and you're in a different place and something different is like, oh shit. But faith is knowing that it always ends up what you truly desire in your heart. As long as you set the compass and go. Set the compass and go on a journey and know that, like, again, even if you do a detour, we know that the scenic route, when you take a fucking trip, right? Unless you're in the rush. In this life shit, ain't no rush. Ain't no rush in this life shit. So you don't need to rush. So in life, when you go on a journey, the scenic route is always more beautiful. And it's always more beneficial because the lessons that you pick up, the experiences that you have, the wisdom that you gain from those experiences, right? It's so much more powerful for you to just, if you just went straight. If you just went straight, like, trust the process. Trust the process. Trust yourself enough to align, right, with that which is divine. Allow love to guide you. Love. Understand that people are like, oh, I don't want to get hurt no more, so I'm gonna stay single. Oh, I don't want to get hurt no more, so I ain't gonna trust this person. I'm gonna do everything on my own. And it's like, that's fear. That's fear speaking. And that's fear that's understandable, right? Nobody wants to be hurt. But as I said in the recent shows, that's something that as long as you're living, you're going to be hurt. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. Your children are going to disappoint you. They're going to do some shit that you don't think they should do. It's going to cause you, I can't believe you did that. I'm so hurt. Your parent going to do some shit that you don't want them to do. Say some shit that you don't think they should say. Oh, man, I'm so hurt. How could you say something like that? Right? Or they're going to transition and you're going to be hurt. One way or another in life, you are going to be hurt. You don't need to protect yourself against being hurt. What you need to do is strengthen yourself, strengthen your inner compass, right? Your inner knowings, those internal qualities. Strengthen them. Again, that faith that is all divine, that is working out exactly the way as it should, even if I don't understand, right? Strengthen your perspective. Shift your perspective around grief and around loss. Detach from attachments, from expectations, right? It's supposed to be like this. This person was supposed to grow old with me. Yeah, you had that hope. You did your part. they had a destiny completely separate from you, so they transitioned. Whether they died and went back to spirit realm, or the relationship ended and they moved on. Relationships transcend all the time because we elevate all the time. We elevate and descend. We're always in motion. Everything is always in motion. That's the first. That's not the first law. The first law of 7 hermetic laws is the all of the mind. But one of the laws is everything is always in motion. Everything is always in motion. Shit is always moving. Always moving. Up, down, north, south, east, west, left, right, however you want to spin it. Everything is always in motion. Just like the stars in the sky are always, the planets are always moving, rotating, orbiting, traversing the universe, right? So are you. So are your loved ones. So are the people in the community, right? And again, trust is knowing that a relationship today, no matter how bad it is, can be better tomorrow. Different time, different space can improve. Again, there's some people who I'm friends with who I once had beef with. There are people who I'm friends with who at one point I was like, I can never be friends with them, right? Based on where I was. I got a friend, right? We're not by any means best friends, but we're great friends. We never had beef, right? Childhood friend, was in classes together. Very different people. Very different people. How we move, how we dress, how we talk. From the same block, though. That's what's crazy. From the same block, but very different people. When I was younger, he was a very weird person to me. In my perspective, he was very weird. And although I knew he lived on my block, right? We was in, I think, first grade, second grade, and third grade. So we had like 3 or 4 classes together, right? Although I knew he was from my block, I knew he was from Queensbridge. When I seen him in school, I avoided him. I didn't want to be seen around him. And again, not that we was friends hanging out and like around others I didn't know. I've never been that person. If you was my friend, you was my friend. I don't give a fuck what other people felt about you. But I just never really hung around him, right? And so again, I knew he was from Queensbridge. I knew he was from my block. We didn't hang out on the block together, right? It wasn't like that. But in school, even more so, because like, I'm like, dude, just weird as fuck. But as life happens, as we grow, I've grown. I think he's still the same. He's the same exact way as he was then. The way he talks, the way he dresses, you can see he's the same exact person. Right? I've grown. Now, again, we don't hang out all the time, not because I think he's weird anymore. We don't hang out just because our lives are different. Right? But I call him. I invite him to events. I text him. I got his number. I hit him up every now and then, check on him. Yo, what's going on? How you doing? He's extremely creative. He's extremely talented. He's extremely fucking smart. And he's extremely unique. He is who he is. Love that shit now. Where before, then, so like growth, personal growth, internal growth, how we perceive things, right? And again, this goes back to the power of self-love. Loving yourself enough to know when you are jaded or your perception is tainted and you're not looking at things as they are. You're looking at things as how you expect them to be, how you would like them to be, which is not a bad thing in itself, but it can rob people of what, it can rob others specifically of what it is. This person from Queensbridge, they should be like this. No, they're from Queensbridge and they're like this. They don't have to be just because y'all both from the same hood, same block. They don't have to do the things that you do. They don't have to engage in the same behaviors that you engage in. They don't have to talk like you talk or like others talk. No, they can talk how the fuck they want to talk. And that's who they are. Love them or not. Right? So power of self-love, right? Check yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? And then the power of love for another. To accept people for who they are, how they are, without trying to change them. Trusting that they are on their soul's journey and they will get to where they need to get to in due time, even if it's completely separate from you and how you are in the way that you do things. We ain't got to do things the same way. We don't got to speak the same way. We don't got to use the same language, right? We don't got to dress the same way. We don't got to eat the same foods, right? Like we had the sober party the other day. My friends left. And they went and they had drinks after, right? A few people went and had drinks and smoked some weed, right? Like, live your life. Told you a couple weeks ago, my biological brother comes to my crib. He hit me. He coming over. He like, yo, I know you don't drink no more. Do you mind if I drink? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Live your life. It's not going to impact me. Now, this is the challenging part. If something happens to you, that impacts me, right? So if something happens to you, if you develop an illness, if you get into an accident, if something happens because of that, I'm impacted. We can't protect ourselves against hurt. We're going to be hurt one way or another. If we're hurt if we try to control. And I'm like, bro, I don't think you should be drinking no more. He's like, man, fuck you. And now he doesn't want to come around me. I'm hurt because I wish I could be around my brother. All right. And now he's drinking. And if something happens, I'm hurt because, like, damn, my brother, you shouldn't. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Detachment has his own journey, his own life journey, own life path, own life mission that's completely separate from me. I am not that important. That's something that we gotta, baby, we gotta come to that understanding, baby. As humans, we are not that important to each other. We are extremely important and not that important at the same time. Two things can exist. Two things can be true at the same time. We are of the utmost importance, yes. We are trees, rooted, strong, big. And we're not that important. We're specks of dust free floating in the fucking universe. Here today, gone tomorrow. Literally. Literally, here today, gone tomorrow. In the blink of an eye, everything can be different. Everything will be different. Everything is different. Love, acceptance, patience, kindness, discipline. We're gonna do a show. We're gonna talk about discipline specifically because discipline is so misunderstood. The word, the concept of discipline is so misunderstood, right? But love of self is to discipline self. Love of another is to discipline self in relationship to that other, right? Faith, hope. What do you hope for? What do you want to happen in your life? What do you want to happen in the lives of others? What do you want to happen in your community? What do you want to happen in the world? Hope. What do you hope for? And then go beyond that. What do you have faith in? Where is your faith? How strong is your faith? Do you know that if you put the work in today, that which you hope for will come to pass tomorrow? It will come to be. It's great power in faith, hope, and love. It's great power in the commitments. Internal. Commit internally first and foremost. And then as you have faith in your own dreams, as you have faith in your own abilities, you have faith in the power of the Most High that dwells inside of you, that also dwells inside of your brother and your sister. Have faith in them. I used to say there were people around me who would talk about religion all the time, and they would talk about God, and they would talk about faith that they have. But I would tell them, yo, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire one day. I'm going to be a multi-hundred millionaire one day. And they would say, get the fuck out of here. You can't do that shit. How you think you're going to do that? You got no faith. If you got no faith in your brother and your sister and their wildest dreams, then you really don't have faith. You don't have faith. Because how I used to get into it, man, with my more religious brothers and sisters, man. I don't do that shit no more, right? Like, I ignore a lot of shit, right? I don't try to. But I was at one point, right, when you come into certain consciousness, you're like, yo, like this year is like. But I used to be like, yo, how do you believe that this is possible? But you don't believe that this is possible. You believe that Jesus died, rose on the third day, and is coming back from the sky. But you don't believe when your brother tells you that he's going to be a multi-hundred millionaire. Like, what faith do you have? Like, how? Right? And, there used to be a lot of arguments back and forth online and in person, right? Real heated, right? Nothing ever came out of it, like no beef or nothing like that, but real heated. People definitely stopped talking. Right, definitely a lot of blocks on social media, a lot of blocks, a lot of unfriends, all right, a lot of in the streets, like, I ain't talking to this motherfucker no more. Part of life, right? Part of life, but faith, knowing that something is possible, knowing that the invisible could be made visible with a little bit of effort, with a little bit of action, with a little bit of love, a little bit of activism. Right, with a little bit of activism, activating just a little bit, right? With their faith, the size of a mustard seed. Like I don't got no real proof, This person is having a real difficult time. They're exhibiting behaviors and they're using language, and their daily habits are questionable at best. But I know that in due time, they got something in them that if watered, if nurtured, they could become a big, beautiful fucking tree. Big, beautiful tree. Faith. Detachment, though, like not trying to control, is allowing people to live their life. That is, to me, that is one of the greatest forms of love, is understanding. To understand a person, why they do what they do, to understand why the person in your family who drinks so much drinks, understand why they drink, understand why the person is promiscuous, right? Is having sex with a bunch of different people, understand why they do it, why they're doing it, to not judge, to not call them bad people because of it, to not say they ain't shit, to not name call them, to not label them because of their behaviors, to have compassion, to understand that they are doing what they're doing in large part, mostly to survive, right? Even if only to survive mentally, right? They've created a world where this is what they have to do in order to be okay, in order to deal with certain other shit, to get over certain other shit, to suppress certain other shit. This is what they feel they have to do. Understand that shit. Understand that shit. Now, the fine line is between control and sharing care, right? Sharing care. Hey, listen, I care about you, and again, this is where it becomes a skill. Not, yo, I don't think you should be doing this. I don't want you to be doing this. It's dangerous, right? It's a skill between like how you frame things. How you frame things. If a person is having some challenging experiences, it's a little easier to be like, hey, this is a little dangerous. Like, do you think, like, is this something, right? Like, do you want to? Like, those ask questions as opposed to giving unsolicited advice, right? If motherfucker, like, because motherfucker turned on you and now you mad that they turned on you and they ain't taking your advice, but they ain't actually for your fucking advice to begin with, right? So love is you got to find a way to do it. Find a way to communicate your love. Find a way to communicate your care, right? It's not easy, which is why it's important to seek wise counsel. It's important to be in community, because in community, we can figure out, okay, what's the best way to communicate to this person that we as a family are concerned about their behaviors, right? Interventions. People have family interventions all the time, right? I think a lot of family interventions go wrong or don't work. They're not successful because there's a lot of you should, you shouldn't, finger pointing, as opposed to how do we create a better environment, right? Or how do we help you, right? Or are you getting what you want? Because you got to understand that people may want, like, everybody don't want the same thing, right? And everybody don't want the same thing. Some people's wants, desires are rooted in fear, are rooted in hurt, are rooted in pain. That's when you can always come in with love. And how do we, right? Are you in pain? Are you hiding something? I asked something the other day. One of the questions during the sobriety panel that I had with my friends on Friday was, when you were drinking, is there something that you were avoiding or numbing? And what was that thing? What was that thing that you was avoiding or numbing? Because not everybody who drinks avoids or numbs, and not all the time, right? Sometimes it's just part of the fucking culture. It's just what you do. So you're just doing what you've always done. You're doing what everybody in your family has always done. You're just following protocol, right? But we know that some people do sometimes numb and avoid. That's why they drink, right? So, like, what is it? You can ask the person, you can ask a loved one that. What's hurting you? Are you in pain? Because they might not even be in pain. You might just be like, eh. But then, look, this shit is deep. You got to be able to see beyond what they say, right? But then you can't force. You can't force it out of them. You can try to create conditions and circumstances that allow certain things to come out. Like, I would say I was good at 17, 18, 19. I said, yeah, I'm good. But I was drinking every day. And so, like, a few people was able to see beyond that shit and be like, Ray, I know you're not good. Like, I know you're hurting. It's okay. Right? And then to some of them, I would, like, express my hurt. Right? And so, like, the shit is deep, man. But there is indeed great power in faith, hope, and love. For yourself internally, have a vision, have a desire, have a blueprint, or just have something that you want. that's more than what you have now, that's beyond where you are now, have the faith to submit that shit. I know that it is. I have unyielding faith. I have no doubt that it will come to pass. Why? Because I'm going to activate that shit. Love is active. Love is active, not passive. Right? Love is an action word. So act on it. Right? Like show love. Show love. Be love. Be love. Be kind. Be compassionate. But be firm. Be strong. Be courageous. Be convicted. Right? Be passionate. Right? Be graceful. Be who you are. You know who you are. Love yourself. Accept yourself. Have faith in yourself and in your abilities. Have faith in your dreams. Have faith in the God that dwells inside of you, that energy will bring forth the dream that you have. Go forward. Go forward, go forward, go forward. Know that you are extremely powerful. Not anything you want, you can have if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to sacrifice for it, if you're willing to believe in it, even when it doesn't seem possible, even when it actually seems impossible and improbable, and everything around you is telling you that you cannot have that thing, when the walls seem to be fucking closing in, and everything that you built seems to be falling apart. Strengthen your faith, because sometimes good things fall apart so greater things can come together. Sometimes good things fall apart so that greater things can come together. And sometimes God is I'm always going to talk about God, because sometimes God is going to test you, and sometimes God is going to strip you of everything that you have, because you became complacent, you became comfortable, right? You became cynical even. God going to take everything that you have. You're going to lose it all. But God take it away, and God give it again. And so God going to take, but God going to give. You got to know that even when it's taken, even when you're losing, even when it's falling apart, that you are still being prepared for something more, for something greater, for something better. Yo, that's our show for today, guys. Power, faith, hope, and love. Root in that shit. Remember that shit. Embrace that shit. And thank you. We're gonna get into meditation. Right, we are gonna get into a meditation before we close the show. What? Detected inactivity during color live. What? There's no inactivity. Yo, these people are crazy. It said TikTok detected inactivity. I'm here. I'm on live. TikTok is crazy. But I know TikTok is once again with the smoke. So we're going to end this live on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. We're going to get into a meditation. Yo, I love you guys, TikTok. I appreciate you guys. Join us next week, same time, same place. Sunday Light. Also join us during the week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Same channel. I'll see you guys then. Thank you, TikTok, for tuning in. Peace. Yo, let us get into a comfortable position. Our TikTok views are going up. We at back at 200 views. We was at when we restarted, we was at a couple 40, 50, 70. We had 100 and something last week. Today we had 200 views on TikTok. All right. Consistency wins always. But let's get into this meditation, if you will. If you're laying down, find a comfortable position. If you are sitting, allow your feet to be planted firmly on the floor beneath you. Allow your arms to rest gently in your lap or by your side. Allow your head to lean forward so that your chin is in your chest. Allow your eyes to close ever so softly. And simply becoming aware of your breath. Becoming aware of your breathing. Allowing yourself to find a steady rhythm. Hmm. As you sit in this silent space and your breathing finds a steady pace, I want you to simply remember that you are worthy of your existence. You're worthy of your dreams. You're worthy of your hopes. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of loving yourself, even through your imperfections. You're worthy of loving others, even through conflict. And you're worthy of being loved, even through any shortcomings. You can simply repeat in your mind right now, silently, I am worthy. I am worthy of everything that I desire. I am worthy of everything that I desire. I am worthy of everything that I desire. Remember that the journey was never promised to be easy, but the journey has always been said to be worth it. To love yourself, hope for the best, and have faith that everything is working out and is already worked out on your behalf and in your best interest, even when it doesn't feel or look like it. Trust your process of becoming, trust God, and know that it's all divine. Know that love, know that power. Thank you, family. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in on another Sunday. Love, Ariana, sis, brother. I appreciate you all. You got a big trip tomorrow. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You know that even when things seem tough, even when they are tough, it's still working out on your behalf. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. See you next week. Peace. I'll just touch a computer. I thought the computer was touchscreen. It's not touchscreen.